così contento che sono qui ancora a Napoli con Michele e con tutti. Grazie Maria, sono really, it's a privilege to be here, compleanni. It's a special day, and I suppose I want to say really three thank yous. I mean, firstly to Maria for allowing me to share in this special day, and I really appreciated the words that she shared now. The second is to Michele personally for the contribution he's made to the Anlin Foundation and continues to make, and that's been very much since the outset. I've had the privilege to work with the Fondazione during these last 10 years. It's been a really central institution in this birth stage of the Anlin Foundation, and I think again I put a huge value on the partnership. The fact that we had the 10-year anniversary of the foundation here in Napoli was of huge significance to a person, an organization, and a city that's been central, and I hope can continue to be central to the work that we do as well. And the third thank you is to our network, which is represented here today, at least to allow me to sit in on some of your discussions today. And I link it to the meeting in Rome that Michele mentioned, because I come now from our advisory council meeting, which takes place once a year. This particular advisory council is important because of the fact that it prepares our new programs for the next 4 or 5 years. So it's been a strategic meeting. It's been a meeting that had to take into account all the evolution of the foundation during these last few years. But what's very clear is the type of activity that you're participating to today is what we consider in Alexandria and what the Advisory Council considers as really central to what the Anlin Foundation has to do in the next few years ahead. So this type of cross-network activity, as we call it, the ability to bring together different networks, different experiences, different practices, different ways of thinking, is really central and must be central to how we program our work during the next few years ahead. So again, thank you for allowing me to be here to experience a bit of that today, and just to reconfirm that this really has to be for us what we have to really invest in the next few years ahead. I also on a personal note want to underline, I mean, I come here now from Rome en route to Palermo, where I have 3 little children waiting for me who we came from summer vacation. My wife's Sicilian, and we travel now back to Egypt. 2 of those little children, 2 years old and 5-year-old, young women, young girls. And so a lot of the issues that you talked about in the sessions I attended today touched me quite personally. As a parent of young women, I've been thinking a lot about these questions that were touched on today, about the type of space and the type of public space they'll have to operate in, the type of opportunities they'll have in the social and entrepreneurship space that we discussed in the last session. I've been thinking a lot about the issue of image and stereotypes. We spent a lot of time debating which Disney movies we're going to watch, from Moana to anything else, and trying to think about the way that images really affect. So there's been, at least at a personal level, a lot of the issues today have become much more profound for me, and I think for the Anlin Foundation this is really critical. And if it wasn't already, it's reinforced by the report that will be published in the next few weeks. Because as some of you may know, we've carried out a survey, the 3rd survey of its kind, on intercultural trends. We think the survey has to be a huge asset, not just for those of us working in Alexandria, not just for the institutions in Brussels, Cairo or New York, but also for you working in the field, because it really gives a evidence base, a scientific backing to a lot of the issues that you've been raising today. And some of those themes are really complex and profound, and we need to together really underline. So if you look in the survey, and I can make sure with Michele and our colleagues in the network that everybody here has access to the full data, but if you look at the issues around women and the role in dialogue promotion, it's extremely interesting. And again, I won't go into the complexity of that detail, but if you look per country at the question we ask about the those who are in favor of increasing the role of women in society and those who are in favor of reducing the role in society. And you look at it in all the countries that you represent, and you look at it as a trend in the last 5 years. There's a lot of interesting data there. And one of the points that underlines is about aspirations, and there's some very positive aspirations, particularly in the fields we work, particularly in the social cultural field, about the central role of women as dialogue actors. And that's an increase in the last few years in the South Mediterranean as well as Europe. So again, I think we have an evidence base that can really support the local advocacy that we do and also the local action that we do as well. So again, just to sum up, that I think that again, what's been symbolized in the meeting today really will be central to what the Anlin Foundation does in the years ahead. We think that we really need, and more than ever, we're very conscious of what can be a disconnect, as happens in many organizations, but in my case, representing a headquarters in Alexandria, coming to a meeting like this in Napoli, I'm very conscious of the disconnect we have from the field and from many of the pioneering practices that you in the room are involved in. So we need to bridge that gap, and that's also one of the more organizational issues we need to look at in the next few years, which the advisory council's underlined. So our commitments there in terms of the network, our commitments there in terms of the programming, and our commitments there in trying to restructure now an organization that can really maximize what, since 2004, and Napoli played a key role then, and also Michela played a key role then, was very clear when it came to being a real South-North network of trust and network of people. So again, thank you so much for letting me be here today and share a few words, and thank you, Michela, and the entire team for organizing such a fantastic activity.
Grazie.